Everybody, welcome to the very first episode of the BoatHouse Girls. I'm Becky.
And I'm Rachelle.
Growing up in the upper Midwest in the 1980s, we went through it all. Big hair, cassette tapes, 8-track tapes, and unforgettable adventures.
We're not just cousins, we grew up like sisters, navigating the joys and challenges of girlhood together.
And in each episode, we're going to dive into the things that shaped us, whether it was from our playground escapades to the pop culture that defined our youth.
We'll share heartfelt stories and a few laughs along the way, reflecting on how those years influence our lives today as women in our 50s.
And trust us, there is plenty to reminisce about. We're going to explore everything from family dynamics to navigating relationships and finding our voices in the changing world we live in.
So whether you're a fellow Gen Xer or just curious about what it was like growing up in our era, we invite you to connect with our own memories as we celebrate the spirit of Generation X.
So get ready for our version of therapy, a mix of nostalgia, laughter, and meaningful conversations along the way.
Because sometimes the best therapy is just a chat with your cousin. Ready?
Let's
ready.
Chat. Are you?
Should I take a shot at Fireball? We're not there yet. Okay. Maybe later.
I'm thinking,
it's a Saturday afternoon.
Now I'm thinking we started doing this whole thing wrong. Maybe we needed to get back in touch completely with our early selves and start with the Fireball. Where's the disco ball? Oh, man.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We can start seriously. I suppose at some point we will probably have a bottle of Pinot Grigio at some point that we are. Yeah. But the reason I'm not doing it with you today is because I can't find the kind that you introduced me to anywhere here in town. I have to go shopping for it elsewhere. So to be continued. I will find the wine. I'm not going to say what kind
north
it is.
if they don't have my Pinot Grigio.
Well, okay. Keep in mind, in my town, it is a municipal liquor store. And so they have the monopoly on everything. And so if they don't carry it, nobody else is going to have it because there is no other store.
You're going to have to go into the big city.
I'm going to have to leave
Minneapolis
town
and find yourself
my
a bottle of the Italian Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, everybody, welcome to our conversation. This is kind of how we roll. We kind of lose ourselves and come back sometimes. As we say,
yeah. There's sometimes no connection.
And you'll find too that sometimes just will work sometimes.
Just solving the problems of the world.
So one menopause moment at a time. So the BoatHouse. Sorry. So the BoatHouse.
So the BoatHouse is an actual thing. It is a beast of a thing. It's not something I would call popular amongst neighbors who are near it. It was built on a lake in Minnesota. I want to say it was the year my brother was born. So, late 70s.
Late 70s, yeah.
Late 70s. My parents had just bought a property on a lake and a boathouse had to be built. And for whatever reason, my father, Larry, had a vision that it had to hold many boats, even though we only own one.
And my father, Jerry, was always dedicated to helping Larry make his visions become reality.
No matter how ridiculous or illegal they may have been.
Yes.
And we also had an Uncle Glenn who would throw himself into the mix. So the boathouse was built. It is essentially a massive, massive pole barn that sits on a lake. I don't even know what the dimensions are. Do you?
I don't. I just know as children, it seemed enormous. It was huge to us.
And the front had a giant metal barn door type made out of remember, and it was made out of giant 2x4s and metal. and it slid across the front towards the lake. Because the idea was is you could open it up at night and the adults could sit in it and have their drinks and a bonfire, and somehow that was
Mhm.
gonna protect them from the mosquitoes.
And the
Wasn't.
breezes? I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was kind of supposed to be like the hangout place for the
Yeah.
guys, maybe is
Yeah.
the way it was
Yeah.
thinking. I don't know. And well, didn't your parents first have a camper or a trailer on the property? So there wasn't a whole lot of space. They would put us, all the children and the wives in there, and the dads would go out to the
The
boathouse.
2
So,
dads would go out to the boathouse that was massive enough for a full football team, yeah.
right.
But even to just get that door open, it took at least 2, sometimes 3 of us as little kids to
As
slide it.
kids.
One would have
Exactly.
to push back the thing on the back so it wouldn't
Exactly.
catch on the lock latch on the one side and was risking their lives, while the other
Mhm.
2 would push and go, "We're
Mm.
coming, go."
Oh, man.
And
The
then
boathouse was a
yeah,
behemoth. I agree. And the placement of the boathouse is what makes it still legendary to this day.
it is strategic. It was put back so we had a beautiful, like, I think it was 25 feet of beach when they built
Mhm.
it. So it was
Mhm.
perfect for the kids to play in the sand and go in the lake, and then they had the dock and the boat. However,
Yeah.
with changes in time, somewhere in the '90s, there was the big flooding in the Midwest.
Mhm.
'Cause I remember being in college still, I believe, but then, like, it changed the current of the lake. Although
Mhm.
there's rumors that it has something to do with the beaver dam. I don't know what the
Oh,
facts are.
who knows? I don't know. I would say the flooding of the '90s had a
Yeah,
huge impact on it. That would be my
and
guess.
that beautiful beach washed away and showed up at the neighbors north, which is a whole 'nother episode.
Oh, it
But,
sure is. Dang it.
uh,
We loved that beach.
I love
Oh,
that beach. Now
it
there's
was
like
the
a
place
foot,
of
maybe 2.
yeah, yeah. But we digress. The boathouse. The
It's a
boathouse is a thing of legend.
monstrosity.
It was a monstrosity, and it was at the very, lakeside front part of the property. Therefore, any view that we were gonna have from that direction was blocked off by the boathouse. Now,
And if you were
your
on the
parents
boat
did have Oh, go ahead.
if you were on the boat and you weren't sure where the house was, it was okay because you could see the boathouse from anywhere on the lake, which is
Mhm.
where the neighbors and the Lake Owners Association had some issues. It's also why they then
Yes.
passed rules about how big your boathouse can be, thanks to our dads. And those rules still exist.
So, you will find throughout this podcast, we have stories to tell about Bart and Larry, or Jerry and Larry. My dad's nickname was Bart. And oh boy,
Mhm.
the two in the '70s were the stuff of legend. And that is part of, I mean, it's a huge part of our growing up story. How can we not tell it? We're just hoping we don't make Uncle Larry upset along the way.
I believe he will find this entertaining because he will just see us as getting into trouble, and he usually enjoys that,
Mm.
oddly enough.
That's true.
He
God
always
bless
enjoys
him.
us getting into
He
trouble.
does. I think he actually, yeah, I think he kinda lives for it at this point in his life, but,
I don't think we're ever gonna live up to the expectations, though, of what he and your dad were able to do,
it
but
was the
anyway,
'70s. They could get away with more.
a lot, a lot more.
We might be arrested at this point.
But the boathouse, still exists. You could no longer use that door. That door is gone. It's gone through many transformations over time, but no matter how many windstorms or nearby tornadoes have hit that lake, it's still there. It is still there.
Still there. I honestly thought it'd be gone, what, 2 summers ago when a tornado was right in that area, and nope, it still
No,
stands. Built in
it'll stand,
'77.
I think,
Yeah.
or 78. Yeah.
Well, the boathouse became the inspiration for our name for many reasons. And honestly, we had a hard time kind of deciding which boathouse story to tell right away to get the message across. Boathouse has now kind of become a metaphor for me. Sometimes I think to myself, I need to go to the boathouse just to get out of some noise and have a quiet moment to myself.
Mhm.
Other times I think of it kind of like the generation before us used to say the woodshed. I'm taking you out to the boathouse and we're going to have a chat. And both apply to our life. Sometimes it was a
Yeah.
great getaway for us. Other times it was a place where punishments could happen. So
Yeah.
it
Also where
translates.
numerous things have been stored. You can, to this day, I think if you walked in the boathouse, you might be surprised what you find in there.
It would be like a little treasure hunt.
Well, I
I
don't
would
think it would be a
love
good
that.
treasure hunt.
Oh,
Yeah.
might be
Like
a few critters in there.
like, was it okay, was it your 40th when we had the bonfire?
Yep. Yep. Celebrated out there. Mhm.
And dad, went in the boat. We couldn't get the fire to start on the bonfire for Becky's 40th, and, dad came
Mhm.
out of the
Yeah.
cabin, solved that problem pretty quick. 'Cause what did he found in the back.
Larry style. Yeah, just like they always did. Do you
Yeah.
remember having a bonfire without a can of the rectangular can of lighter fluid or starter fluid? Do you remember having that in the
Uh-huh.
70s or 80s? I don't think we ever had one
No,
without it starting that way. They would put
'cause there
they'd
was no
put kindling and
patience.
stuff in there, but no, no, they like to right.
No.
Yes. So
Dad just
40th
came out.
birthday,
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
Sorry, it had been raining, so the wood was all wet, and we were struggling a little bit. Our Girl Scout training was not kicking in, and your dad came out, and he had, like, an old piece of, I don't know, plywood or something that he threw on
It was
top.
the old
S
dock. He had just torn apart the old dock. So it's got, the glue in it. It's held
Yeah,
together really well,
and
and the
he
glue is probably
squirts.
toxic.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, we're not worried about the environment at that point. I mean,
Never
we
have been
were,
at the
but
lake,
no, no, no.
so
It
okay.
was never an issue for our dads when we were growing up for sure. And he just hoses that thing down with a old can. Oh, didn't he have a motor oil or something? Oh, we should
Yes, he
maybe we're
said,
gonna
"Here's
get in
some good old
trouble telling this story.
1970s motorboard.
Boat oil.
It'll get it going."
That's right. So the best part
Actu
is he still had it. He still had saved it
or
from when
knew
he
where
took
it
it
came
out
from. Mhm.
all those years ago. Oh my gosh, it was
Well,
still in a
granted, it was
container.
probably Grandpa Reynolds from when they had the lake, but,
Ah,
uh,
yeah.
yes. But
Okay.
I do remember him
Yes.
yelling, "Girls, you better back up."
And we were 40 at that point. I love it.
You were
We were
40.
still being told we should back up.
Yeah.
God bless him. Just like we were little children. Oh gosh. Oh, so Rochelle and I,
Uh,
God bless us. We grew up on this in the summer going to this lake in Minnesota. And it was for me idyllic when I look back on it. Would you say the same? I
I think so, like, to me, that is home. That's the most
Mhm.
consistent place for me growing up,
Mhm.
regardless of the time period, so that was always my home, it was always my safe place. Um,
Mm,
it's a place to relax.
yeah.
I've never been a transcendentalist, but if I was, that would be that would be it, that place there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful spot. It's on this beautifully pristine, clean lake. It is your parents have the two lots next to each other, so there's plenty of space. As children, we got to run around and play and get dirty and swim and fish and everything we could imagine. Even I remember trying to spy on the raccoons getting into the garbage at night.
Damn raccoons.
And our parents would say, "Don't go outside, don't go outside." And we
Raccoons.
just wanted to lay eyes on them. And every night it's straight out of that John Candy movie where raccoons are constantly getting into the metal garbage
They
cans.
were my
No,
mother's nemesis, no matter what she put on those trash cans, they got in. But now you mentioned the
100%.
2 lots, that is also a rule that was made on the Lake Association after my parents bought it. They You were no longer allowed to sell the 2 lots. I don't know if that was,
Yeah.
like, strategic because they were reinforcing the boathouse problem or what that was about. I just know there's
I don't
been more
know.
than one rule created because of our family on that poor lake.
It's so true. Yes, and
Oops.
sometime we will probably get into the story about how our dads got rid of the weeds, but we'll save that for
Yeah, I don't
another
know about
time.
that. Mm, I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it only is natural that we got to call ourselves the Boathouse Girls because so much of our lives centers on the time that we had at that lake cabin and still do sometimes. We still visit it at times, which is awesome.
Well,
I
my
don't know.
parents are now living there, so
They are, which I'm
mm,
excited about because that was their dream, to
mhm.
come back here and live. Or I know it was your mom's. I don't know about your dad's. I've never asked him specifically,
Oh,
but yeah.
I think so. I mean, they bought it together, so
Yeah.
I would think so. I don't know.
I don't and I just think about you guys moving away when we were junior high-ish, you were starting high school,
Mhm.
and then not being at the lake quite as often together. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the inspiration for when my dad started thinking about getting his own lake place
Oh,
and
probably,
talking
yeah.
his brother into getting one with him. Yeah, for a while. And now,
Or
I mean, go ahead. My dad's been gone over a decade now, and my mom still keeps the lake place. It's not easy for her, but she still has the lake place because she wasn't ready to get rid of it. She wanted all her grandkids to be growing up and splashing around and having fun just like we did. So
yeah. I
it's
remember when
cool.
we moved, I thought I'd never see the lake again. I remember being told to
Mm,
say goodbye to the lake. It's very,
really?
very dramatic on Golden Pond moment.
I
Ethel, no.
didn't know that.
Yeah, because it was for sale, and it wasn't till we had
Oh,
moved, I think for like a year, grandma and grandpa then bought it with the idea
I
that it
didn't
would
know
stay in the
that.
family. Mhm.
Huh.
And then it returned back to my parents. But yeah, I thought I'd never see it again when
Hmm.
we moved to Kansas. So, but
Hmm.
essentially, Becky and I, yeah, we grew up together. We're only daughters,
Yes, we
and
are. We each have two brothers. Hmm.
yes, and we grew up. Well, she grew up in town. She's a townie. I was out in the
I
country. I
am.
was the country mouse. She was a city mouse. Um, in a little town in North
If,
Dakota.
if you can call a town of 900 people a city, that's
Hey,
right.
back then it was flourishing. It was like 1,200 because the sign said so when you drove into town.
Well,
But yeah, shout
especially
out to
after
Enderlin.
the sunflower plant opened, then it would
Oh
really went
yes,
booming.
we did.
Yes.
But we grew up in a K through 12 school.
And it was
Uh,
awesome, wasn't it?
it was
We
then,
were
yeah.
we were all about Eagle Pride, and or at least I was, and I know you were along for that ride too. My dad was a teacher at the local school, at the high school, and he coached basketball, and man, I mean, that was my entire life in the wintertime was going to basketball games constantly. If we weren't at the gym, then we were traveling to another one. And if it was a weekend and he didn't have a game, he'd have Saturday morning open gym or something. And then we kids would go
Yeah.
run around. And then once the kids cleared out, he'd have his buddies come over and they'd play basketball and they'd play pickup games. And we kids, dad would just unlock the equipment room in the gym where all the fun gym stuff was that we used to play with during gym class. And he would just say, kids, don't wreck anything. And we would pile in. Oh man, it was a blast. Absolute blast. And it was all fun and games until somebody was bleeding. It was usually the case. The scooters were usually the instigator of the blood. And
The flat ones? The flat scooters? Is that
the
what
little
you
square flat ones. Well,
with the little
there,
yeah.
there, it becomes a problem when you figure out if you stand in the center and you hold on to a jump rope and the kid on the scooter starts going in a circle, holding on to the end of the rope. Eventually, somebody has to let go. Centrifugal force takes over. And
Yeah.
eventually somebody always ended up in the wall and either crying or bleeding or both. And then the dads would all stop. And then they would all tell us, knock it off. And make
Don't
sure
tell your
somebody
mother.
stopped bleeding.
If
That
you
was
think about it, the type of equipment that we had for PE in that smaller school in North Dakota is not allowed today, like a lot of things Gen X. Like the scooters. I
Mhm.
forgot about the scooters,
Oh, the
but we
scooters
had
are
full-on
great.
gymnastic equipment, like we were preparing
Mhm.
for the Olympics. None of us were trained in any of that.
No, but I found out later when I went to college, our gym teacher when we were growing up, she had gone to the same college I went to years
Yeah.
earlier when they still had a gymnastics team, and she was on the
Huh?
team.
She
Thus, now it makes
was?
all sense. Yeah. Yeah, there's still pictures there at the college of her team. I saw her in there. So, it all made sense afterwards. Yeah. That,
Or
and every year up even when I was through 6th grade with her and then had a different gym teacher after that. No, 8th grade, we were still doing a gymnastics, at least some sort of tumbling type of thing,
oh,
which
yeah.
unfortunately I was not so great at. Imagine that. But, it was still fun to give it a shot. I
I
remember
think my height
trampolines
got in the
everywhere.
way. My
Could
height got in the way
could be.
because I could
Yeah.
do the cartwheels on the balance beam and flip off.
Mm.
And I was one of them that could do the run at the springboard and flip off the horse. But then I
Wow.
got tall. And my mom didn't wanna drive
So
me to gymnastics because Fargo was
we're
too far away.
story of our
So
lives.
my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the enormous trampoline, the big one that and then they would have us all get on there at the same time.
Somebody always flew off, and there was no mat under there. There was
No.
no mat nearby. It was
Oh,
pure gym floor.
and no net
No mat.
around it. Those didn't
No.
exist. No, we got on that thing and it was a free for all. We were so excited. We'd walk in the gym, in our cute little line from kindergarten or whatever grade we were in, and we'd walk in and see the trampoline up, and oh my gosh, it was struck gold day. We
It was
were
gonna be a good
tickled.
day.
It was gonna be a great day, and we'd all have to sit and wait our turn, and they would have one go at a time, and then pretty soon 2 at a time, and they'd
Mhm.
build up to something. And every once in a while, she would show us, "Here's a tuck," and we'd have to, try and show her that we could bring our knees up or whatever. I'm not sure what the learning plans were
Or
for that
flip
day.
or turn,
And then
yeah.
eventually it was, "Okay, everybody on at the same time." And it was inevitable. Yes, kids were flying off. We like you said, no mats, always, "Ow, ugh, blood." Or you'd come down and sprain an ankle because you'd hit at the wrong time. It never
Yeah,
failed.
yeah,
Never
yeah.
failed.
And we didn't have a school nurse, so,
Oh, heck no.
it
No.
was it was it was every coach for themselves.
Well, it was
Essentially.
truly because the coaches would sometimes get called in to wrap up a kid's ankle after there was a sprain on the playground or in gym class. Oh, let's talk about our playground.
Oh,
Pavement
I
and gravel. There was not a blade of grass in sight on our
it was the
playground.
it was essentially if you picture when they're going to pave
Pave
a
a
highway,
highway,
and
and
before that, they
before that,
tear it
they
up,
tear it up,
and then they
and then
took
they
what they
took what
tore
they
up,
tore up,
and they
and
poured that on our playground
And then they put the fine P rock over top.
on top of it. So, it didn't matter if you fell hard, if you slipped a little bit, if you just bent over and hit your knee, you were gonna rip your pants.
Oh, and in the 70s, there was no ripping your pants, especially in rural North Dakota. We weren't going anywhere to get new pants over, after work or whatever, or after school. It didn't exist. And so your mom, if you were lucky, your mom would have an iron-on patch in her sewing kit somewhere. And, or, if she could piece it together and maybe sew it up for you. But oh,
Yeah.
heck no. I remember coming home from school, first week of school, big old hole in the knee of my pants. And I had a strawberry there for the rest of the year because my
I
mom had
still
a strawberry patch.
I still have a scar where a rock went into my knee on that playground on my
Oh,
knee somewhere. Yeah.
yeah. Good
And then
times.
we always had a playground monitor.
Yes, we
About as
did.
useful as, I don't know how to say this nicely. I
Well,
don't
let's
even know what
just,
the purpose was other than
I,
yell.
I think, yeah, I think in this day and age, the playground monitor has a much more in-depth
Uh-huh.
job description than ours. Just stood on the stairs by the door and watched
And don't
over
do that.
the massive playground. It was huge. No, she couldn't even say, "Don't do that," because nobody would hear her. Do you remember she had a
Nobody
whistle?
heard.
She'd
That a
blow
whistle.
that whistle, and the entire playground would go, "Huh?"
And
And
she
if she
would
wasn't,
point.
yeah, if she wasn't pointing in your
"Oh, look."
direction, you were safe for the
Yeah.
moment.
You
So,
just kept, oh, she didn't bust
oh
us. Keep going. But no, there was,
gosh. Mm.
there was, electrical equipment where where we played kickball. We
Yep,
used to sit on the electrical boxes to cheer our team on.
that's
She
right.
didn't mind that. She didn't
No,
There
but
was a
she did
propane tank.
mind. She minded though if we younger kids, because you were 2 years older than I was, so you guys were the cool ones, you were the older ones,
Yeah, we
and if
were.
we younger kids went over there to talk to you guys,
Oh.
oh, trouble. Because there were always some of the older kids in your grade who were like, "Get out of here, little kids, we don't like you, blah, blah, blah." And eventually somebody would get pushed over and get in trouble. So then it became the rule. Kids, you may not go over there where the sixth graders are. And we'd have to stay up.
I
If I
mean, it was
dared
for
come
your
over.
own protection. Darren Tingley had a massive kick on that kickball. He got home runs consistently, so it was probably
Mhm.
safer that way.
It's true.
But
It's
there was also
true.
a propane tank that we
Yep.
used as a make-believe horse
Yep.
or gymnastics vault.
Yes. There were lots of flips done off of that.
The high school shop main garage door backed up onto that playground, and
Mhm.
they're in there welding.
Yeah. With the door open. Oh, yeah. There was,
Fine.
I don't know if you ever remember anybody ever saying, "Kids, don't go near that door. The shop class is in there. Stay away." I never heard that
Mhm.
once. Luckily, we seemed
No.
to realize that we should stay away when there were sparks flying. But in this day,
Right by the
parents would have a
propane
fit
tank, mind you.
right by the propane. You are correct. Right next
Right
to the
by the
propane
propane
tank.
tank.
Mhm. The cool
Uh,
part about our playground, though, is our school backed right up to a massive hill. And so there was very little exit for kids to escape the playground if they wanted to run off and do something. Once in a while, the older kids would kind of sneak around the back if they wanted like hold hands or make out or something, probably. But it kind of contained us. That hill being right there made it gave her a natural barrier. She wouldn't have to walk around too much, try and monitor us.
until winter came.
Well, yeah. I
Once
think
winter came, it became the hill was the entertainment because you would go take the, cardboard boxes out of the trash bin, also right there on the playground, the giant
Mhm.
dumpsters used by the
Yep.
whole school,
Yep.
and you'd flatten that box and you'd climb that hill, and you and one other person would go full speed and pray that your leg stopped you as you hit the brick wall that the main building has.
And there was no leveling out. It was straight
No,
into the brick wall. There was
it literally went like, "Gah."
yeah, there was no place to slow down or stop.
And
Yeah,
when
but
those days happened, when winter came and we were doing that, the monitor did not move towards us.
no.
She went inside because it was too cold.
Yes. She would stand that's right. She would stand in the entryway with the little kids who were it
With
was
the
too
heater.
cold for them to be out that much. Notice they still sent us out for playground time. It was, kids would come in with snot frozen onto their faces.
Yeah.
Literally, I've seen it happen.
Oh, yeah.
But you
I
big
don't
kids get
even
out there
know.
and play.
I mean, I think they're better about it now, but I'm curious. Back in the day, because there were a few days we were told you can't go outside. We're staying inside today, but it wasn't that often.
Mm-mm.
We were out there in snowstorms.
Mm-mm.
If there
Oh,
was lightning
yeah.
and rain, we were inside. But when it was cold, was there a temperature, or were we just
There
told, you know what, your teachers can't take you anymore? Bundle up, get out there and go. It's
Yeah.
I
There
don't
was
remember being told too many times to stay inside when it was cold.
it wasn't like now today where the school will have a rule. If it hits certain degrees, we will have inside. There's no going out for recess, and they
Yeah,
just had it like
no.
that. I don't remember some kind of announcement being made that way. I think they just kind of played it by ear. And I do remember being inside sometimes, but it was very rare. Very, very
Very
rare.
rare. And
Yeah.
even when you would go out and you would come in and be like, "I can't feel my face, I can't feel my hand." She would go, "You have 5 minutes to warm up and get back out there." Like you were at
Mhm.
a massive football game and the Super Bowl was
Mhm.
on the line. Get back out there.
Oh,
It's
and it
like
was the '70s and the early '80s, so everybody had mittens that had been knit by somebody's grandma, you know? There was and so
or
they had
layered.
all the little holes in there just like your knit sweater
Mhm.
has, and so there was no insulation, there was no extra once those suckers got wet, they were gonna stay wet, and we had recess 3 times a day. So it was, "Yep, get your stuff on." "Well, my mittens are all wet." "Tough, get out there and play."
You'd come into the classroom and everybody would put their wet mittens on the heater in the room, and the rooms just smelled like
Like wet wool, like wet acrylic.
really sheep have gone bad. Bah. No,
Uh,
it's
oh.
ew. Now I can smell it, and I'm not enjoying that. Um,
I like to think about
mm-mm.
surviving recess in so many ways, and honestly, partly a huge part of it actually was surviving the equipment. The the slide that we had, that metal slide was well, A, at the beginning of the school year, you were gonna burn yourself going down. There was no question about that. And B, that sucker was tall. We could get
They were
almost all of our class on the ladder going up to the top while we were waiting for
and
our turn.
yeah, and then what was the game where you would try to knock each other off?
Yes. What did we call that? I don't remember. If
I
anybody
think we had
knows,
a
tell
different
us.
name for it than people in the South had for it, but
It
I
was
do remember there were 2 slides. One had the bump and the other
yep,
one
they
went
put that one in
right.
later. Yep.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
those many burns, and then,
Mhm.
the monkey bars. Do you remember the scene
Yes.
in, what's the Christmas movie they play? Here
That one.
comes
Huh?
Sean. Here
Huh?
comes Sean.
Which
Oh. Do you remember the well, see, here it is. I'm having a 50s moment.
oh, I get it.
A
But
Christmas
don't
Story,
I
right?
oh, yeah, A Christmas Story. Like with the when the frozen pole and the yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where are you going
Okay,
with this?
the monkey bars.
The globe monkey bars, not the clinching bars that we went across straight
No,
across.
the
The
globe ones where
monkey
you do
bars.
around the world and your legs go up and you flip upside down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
my favorite.
that moment in A Christmas Story, I can't really watch that movie because the moment when he gets his tongue stuck on the flagpole, I had that happen to me on those monkey bars.
So did I.
When
Were you at the
I think
top
I
or
was
were
in
you in the
kindergarten.
middle?
Huh?
Were you at the top or in the middle?
I don't because kids are dumb. And it used to be, back in the day, you're playing on the playground. There was no
Mm.
water fountain,
Mm-mm.
and you'd break the ice cubes off. You'd eat the ice. So I guess we also thought this was fine to do to get the ice off of the. I don't remember who was with me. I just remember I got the end. I was in the inside of the monkey bars, and for some reason, I licked the monkey bar and got my tongue stuck. And before they could come, your brother was, that's right, your brother was there because he was a year older than me. So he was there.
Are you sure he didn't tell you to lick it? Could have been
Possibly. It's
the
very possible he
instigator.
did, or I wouldn't put it past him, but I just know I got it stuck, and they were trying to get something to get me unstuck from the monkey bars, and I panicked and just pulled myself off the monkey bar and took off a whole entire layer of my tongue and couldn't
Yeah.
eat or drink or anything for many
Mm.
days.
I
And
did
so
the
now to
same
this
thing.
day, you have a
No.
cold beverage and that ice cube just sticks to you a little bit.
Oh,
No.
you wait for it to
Flashbacks.
thaw. I did
You
the
gotta
same thing,
wonder
except it
how
wasn't my
many times
tongue.
does that happen?
Oh, I did my bottom lip. I remember. I don't.
On the
I,
monkey bars?
yeah, I didn't even make my tongue didn't make it there for some reason. I went lip first. It makes no sense. Oh my god, the monkey bars were the joy of our playground time. They were. It was the circular monkey bars. So you had like one crossbar around at top, and then one big one around the middle where you could get the most kids, and then there was a lower one, which everybody usually used the lower one as a step. And then it was like certain grades. If you weren't in third grade yet, you couldn't go above the middle bar. And it was only when you got older that you could go up to the top bar. And I was a rule
What are you
follower.
talking about?
That was the rule. And my
There were no
my
rules.
absolute favorite was when you'd go up and you'd get your legs up and then you dangle upside down and then you put your hands on the middle bar and then flip off. The best. The only problem was this was the late 70s, early 80s. We were all wearing cute little dresses. I am not kidding. We did this for a couple years before somebody said, don't do that. You can't do that if you're wearing a dress. I'm not kidding. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, I was probably heading into third grade before finally somebody said, no, girls, not allowed. Because man, we had our underoos showing all the time as we did that
I
flip
don't
move.
remember ever having any rules on the monkey bars. It was a free game. Maybe the rules were created from my class being on the monkey bars.
Oh, it's possible. It's possible. You guys were big kids. I remember you were a big physical class.
We were what?
Because I was little and you were big. That's what we called you, the big kids. You were the big kids. Well, I remember some of your classmates pushing me over because I was probably being very much a little snot and wanting to hang out with the big kids.
Yeah.
And I remember getting pushed and I felt like I flew halfway across the park or the playground, but I didn't, obviously.
There were no rules on the monkey bars. You just did whatever till you hurt yourself.
Well, thanks for setting it up for us. I got the rules by the time you guys had left. That. Oh, do you remember what did we call it? Did we call it war? When we do the clinching bars and you start at one end and you clinch your way across and then you wrap your legs around the person coming towards you. And if the person let go, then you got to keep going and the next person came. Yeah, and you won.
Yeah, you had to rip the other human's body off of the bars.
Yeah, remove their hands. And then you let go with your legs and they fall down. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. I do remember a classmate having rocks, pebbles embedded in his skull or in his head. Not his skull, but in his skin. After playing war on the clinching bars. Yeah.
It's fine.
Sure.
It's Gen X fun. I don't understand what the problem.
My dad in fact, some of my friends figured this out pretty early. My dad gave nicknames to the people that he liked or that he could tease with, or he knew had a sense of humor. It wasn't that he didn't like other kids, but it was usually the ones he could kind of have a little witty back and forth with.
Yeah.
Or he felt some affinity for. I think it's very telling that he had nicknames for you and all my friends and not me.
That you know of.
We'll unpack that in a future episode.
Probably in a multi-part
No,
episode.
it was
Mhm.
good. I did find out from, as my dad was, sick and passing away many years ago now, quite a few of his former coworkers from when we were growing up, came to visit him and talk to us while he was sick, and I more than a few of them talked about how he would talk about me when I was
Mm.
growing up, when they'd be in the teacher's lounge. Do you remember the teacher's lounge at the very, very top of the stairs? And they would
Yes.
open the door and the cigarette
Smoke
smoke
would
would
roll
come
out.
rolling out of their their tiny little room. They'd all cram in there for rot gut coffee and some cigarettes, and then out they'd come and
With
come
one
back to
window.
teaching us. Yeah. Yeah. One window that looked out on the playground.
But did they care? No.
They needed their break.
They probably, now when you think about it, after being an educator for over 30 years, you
Mhm.
know, you do at some point, you have to have a sense of humor. It does go dark at times, but can't you picture some of those individuals, looking out the window with their cigarette in hand, watching one kid fly off of that merry-go-round and all taking bets on who's next, just, to make their day a little brighter.
At the most. Oh, that's not good.
And when that one kid that they really all were all like, "Oh," went flying off, there were cheers. They were jumping up and down and cheering and high-fiving.
Oh my
Wait,
gosh.
did
Not to
boomers
make
high
it
five?
sound like
No.
we we had
I
very
don't
caring and wonderful people that we learned from when we were growing up, but let's not
We
forget
did,
it was the
but it's also part
70s.
of the reason why we are the way we are.
It's there are roots to Gen Xers, and that is one of ours. That is for sure. Oh
Yes,
my
deep,
gosh.
deep,
Mm. And,
deep
I
roots.
sometimes I wouldn't trade it for anything. I people
No.
sometimes I talk to people and I'll tell them, about my upbringing in North Dakota and how my dad had, keys to every room at the school. He had a master key because he was there all the time as a coach, as a teacher, as the athletic director. And he would just, unlock the equipment room, or we would be able to just, while he's playing basketball or working in the coach's office, we'd be all over the school. And
Mhm.
we'd go up to the top floor at night, turn off the lights. Some of us would start on one end of the hall, some of us all the way on the other, and somebody'd yell, "Go," and we would start running, and whoever made it to their other end fastest won. Like, okay, A, who can tell if anybody's telling the truth that they made it there? And B, we would run smack into each over and boom, and somebody, "Ow!" They'd be crying, but our dad was way down on the basement floor in the coach's office, and if he didn't know, we were fine. We kept playing. I and I wouldn't have it any other way. It was a blast. I tell people this story and they kinda look at me like, "What?" It was a good time.
You gotta have an imagination, you gotta make up your own things,
Yeah.
and that's what we did. That's what you did on the playground. That's what we
Oh,
did at the boathouse. That's
we
what that's what
did.
Gen X did.
We
We were
did.
very self-entertaining, sometimes to our own detriment, but very self-entertaining.
Yes. And that's the cool part about this podcast is that we are going to be self-deprecating at times. We are
Oh,
going
yeah.
to talk about all of those things we did at our own detriment. We're going to laugh a little bit sometimes about our parents of the boomer generation who they were doing what they knew how to do, but now we look back and we think, how did we all survive? We're not sure. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about hair and the ozone layer and makeup and junior high dances and college and professions and learning about who we are as adults and all of that stuff. And it's kind of fun to start at, the basics, the playground. It's kind of where we found our first toughness, I think.
It's where you first learned and heard the words, just suck it up.
Truth. Just suck it up.
Just
You're
suck it
fine.
up.
Or my favorite, you gonna live? All right.
You're okay.
You're all right.
You're okay.
Every once in a while you get a whistle. Tweet. Stop doing that. You're gonna hurt yourself. Okay.
Too late. Too late.
Yeah. Man, where was she with that whistle when we were playing dodgeball? And the older boys with that big red rubber ball would boom. We played it up against the wall of the lunchroom. And that little tiny nook that went between the lunchroom and the shop and music ends. Yeah. Or yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'd play up against that wall. And the older boys killed us on a regular basis. They'd always take us out low beneath the knees, and then we'd fall forward, and we all had gravel in our hands for the rest of the day. There was always a kid with the base of the palm bandages coming in. During
really supervision.
Yeah, I don't know. That was off to... She could only use her peripheral vision for that one because it was straight down from the steps. So she missed a lot, I think. God bless her. I don't know.
That way, if you think about it now, with all the cuts in education, that position would probably be the first to go back then. Really? Did it stop anything from happening? No.
Heck, a lot of the schools that I've taught at over the years have gotten rid of that. And then it becomes a battle of, teachers. If teachers have to do it, then they lose prep time or something. And so it kind of comes and goes. But yeah, it's often been cut when something needed to go.